Hello everyone, I'm back with another video for you today, and this time I have some Nimrod decks to share with you if you're interested in buying the new Battle Pass to get that Nimrod card. Nimrod is a 5/5 which, when destroyed, will add 2 copies of it, one in each other location. So if you're able to do some kind of destroy synergy with the Nimrod, it can be quite powerful. Although I don't think this card is the best Season Pass card that we've had, really. It can work in some decks and it improves some archetypes that already exist, kind of similarly to Modok, but yeah, I don't think it's game-breaking or anything like Zabu was in the past, or Silver Surfer and the like. So with that being said, the first deck that I have for you, which is one that I'll probably play a lot of myself, it is Electro Nimrod Ramp. Electro Ramp Nimrod, I should say. With the idea being that you basically take the Electro Sandman shell of a deck here and throw that Nimrod in, because it doesn't disrupt your game plan at all. You kind of want to play that anyway because you were playing cards like Arnim Zola, perhaps, Destroyer, which you can easily ramp into. So we've got kind of 2 game plans with this deck that you can go for. You either, of course, want to go for that Electro turn 3, into the Nimrod, into perhaps an Arnim Zola, and then a Destroyer. That's a very powerful line of play. It gives you a ton of Nimrods on the board, along with that big Destroyer body, and even frees up your mana if you maybe go with an early Destroyer instead of that Arnim Zola onto both Electro and the Nimrods. That's a very nice line of play. If you don't find the Nimrod, you at least have the backup option of going for a Sandman game plan into Doctor Doom and Odin. And you can mix and match some of those combos. You can do, you know, Nimrod into Arnim Zola into Odin on Arnim Zola, for example. You can play that Destroyer, of course, and then play a Doctor Doom to finish. So there's quite a lot of nice little combos here. I think this deck will be pretty damn strong. And I will be giving it a go myself. I might even make a video for it on the channel, in which case check that video out, of course. With that being said, let's jump into the next deck. So the next deck that I think will be quite popular for Nimrod will be Galactus. The idea being you can play Nimrod on turn 5 and then play Galactus at the very end of the game, destroying Nimrod. He then goes to another location and then gets destroyed again. So you get multiple Nimrods in that Galactus spot at the end of the game, giving you a lot of extra strength there, and meaning you don't have to play the Galactus early in the game necessarily, as you normally would, you know, ramping it out with an Electro or a Wave. So here you can just go with that. Basically, you're trying to fill up a location with 4 cards so that the opponent cannot arrow you on the final turn to disrupt the Galactus. So you're going to want to play like a Wolverine, then maybe an Armor. The Armor's in the deck because you might want to play Dr. Octopus into your stacked up lane to pull their cards out of their hand and really disrupt the opponent, and giving your Galactus a much better chance of winning. That's if you ramp out maybe the Dr. Octopus and the Nimrod and such. But yeah, you want to stack in that lane, you want to play like Daredevil, Wolverine, Armor, whatever, and then you play Shuri onto Nimrod and end with that Galactus. Now this deck has the backup plan of being able to maybe go Daredevil and play Wave into Galactus, really get that Galactus out early, destroy a lot of units, and go for Death plus Knull. Sorry, Death plus Null, I always forget. Oh my god, I'm so bad at this. But yeah, you've got lots of different game plans. You can go for even Destroyer as well if you decide, I don't want to play the Galactus, it's not going to work. Then instead you can do Nimrod with, in a different lane to where the Armor is, and then just finish with a Destroyer for some really powerful finisher value after you've played that Shuri to buff up the Nimrod. So Shuri is a very key card here. If you miss it, then you can go for an Electro, perhaps into a Dr. Octopus, into a Nimrod, into a Galactus, something like that, or you can try to ramp out the Galactus early and go for the typical Galactus win condition. So I think this deck will be quite strong, something like this, for Nimrod, but yeah, you might not have Galactus yourself. If not, maybe you want to try the next deck, which, truth be told, I don't think is that good. It's just a Shuri Nimrod deck. To be honest, I don't think Shuri actually benefits from playing Nimrod in there. I think it's an archetype where Nimrod can fit, because you maybe want to play Arnim Zola and Shuri already, and those 2 can synergize with the Nimrod. But I think this combo of Nimrod into Arnim Zola is just very clunky. The one upside is you are not vulnerable to Shang-Chi in the same way that you normally would be. So if you're worried that the opponent's deck maybe runs an Arrow and a Shang and they're going to disrupt your Shuri combo, then maybe you can go for Nimrod into Arnim Zola. But yeah, I don't think there's any particular reason to play this other than if you just want a different style of deck to sort of flex your Nimrod card in. But it should work reasonably well here and not be a terrible inclusion, as long as you try to get that combo. Not 100% sure on this deck, but seems like an okay-ish way to play the card. And lastly, I have a deck here which I don't think will be good at all because it relies heavily on the opponent not having an arrow in their deck in order to win. And of course, arrow is a very popular meta card. It's a very powerful card which punishes you for not having priority in the game. And this deck will suffer with that. The idea is to just try to get Nimrod value organically, you know, play Carnage, Venom, Deathlock as ways to destroy it. Failing that, you've got Arnim Zola, you've got Destroyer, of course, as backups. But yeah, if you can do 2 destroys on the turn after Nimrod, that can be quite powerful because you can summon the 2 10 strength Nimrods in different rows, and then you can go with another destroy effect on the same turn, summon it again. So you end up with 20 power Nimrod in one location and 10 power Nimrod in another, along with those consumes that you've done, so maybe a Venom plus a Deathlock or Carnage or whatever. So that can be quite powerful, especially if you set up the early game with things like a Bucky Barnes and a Wolverine, things like that. And you've got the backup option of Destroyer there. I just think the arrow is really going to cripple you a lot of the time if you don't go for that Destroyer final play. Maybe you can make a read on the opponent and play around it a little bit with this deck, but yeah, without priority, arrow is always going to be a bit of a struggle. I think this can be quite strong if you don't run into that. You're able to burst out with a bunch of power at the end of the game with all of those destroy effects. This is how I would probably make a destroy-focused Nimrod, you know. I wouldn't go anything like Death or Negasonic, Teenage Warhead, anything like that. Those cards are a little too... They don't really work with the Nimrod game plan, I don't think, too well. I think Shuri is the way to go. So with that being said, that's all the decks that I have for you. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe as always for more content. I might play a Nimrod deck, you know, in the coming days. Watch a video on screen perhaps, and I'll see you next time.